to my channel. If you are new here, hello, hi, my name is Sarah, and for today's vlog we are just going to be doing a birthday vlog, like maybe a book update. We're going to be doing a weekend in my life. I don't really know. I don't know what this vlog is gonna be. So basically what's going on today is I have a birthday party that I'm going to. We're going up to Mount Tambourine, which is a little rainforest here in Australia, which I'm really excited about. I actually have to leave in like 30 minutes, so this needs to be quick. We're gonna have a great time. This chai tea is gonna give me all the energy in the world, so cheers. Okay. Also, if I don't get a lot of video stuff from the birthday party today, I'm probably gonna do a book update, because the last vlog you all saw was me reading Fourth Wing, and I've finished Fourth Wing. I wish I did a Fourth Wing like read with me, because holy shit. I'm not gonna get into it now. That'll be at the end of the vlog. And then up. Guys, I ended up recording like absolutely nothing at the birthday. We went on like a ropes course up in the trees. It's called Treetops Adventure. It was a lot of fun, but we weren't really allowed to have our phones. And it was raining. It was raining up there, so not only were we doing ropes course, but we were doing them in the rain. We went ziplining in the rain. I had such a great time, and I'm glad I did get a few videos to really remember the video, the day by. Let's get to this book. I'm gonna try to keep this short. So the goal is to name the book, tell you what it's kind of like a rough version of the plot, what I gave it on Goodreads, and then my thoughts and take. I'm gonna try to keep this quick and short. I've never done book reviews here on YouTube. I tried doing a little book talk for a little bit, but because of my program it just got too hectic and I couldn't keep up with it. But I keep my book reads up to date and my Instagram up to date on all the books and all my reviews on the books that I read. So let's get into it. My goal of this year was 12. I surpassed that goal, as you will see, and I have upped my goal to 24 books, and I'm currently at 18 books, so I am on track for the year, which I'm really happy about. But okay, so the first book that I read this year was I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. This book is basically about Jeanette McCurdy's life. That's about it. That's literally the plot. Like it's an autobiography. I think that's what this kind of book is called. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. I did not find this book funny. I think like all the quotes is like impressively funny. On the back, like a lot of these quotes say like it's a funny book. I don't really find it funny. It can be a bit triggering. There's a lot of like triggering topics, and I think she talks about it in a very beautiful and easy to grasp and easy to understand, not very triggering way. She goes about it beautifully. She's an amazing author, and I did love this book. So we'll go ahead and put this one aside and move on to the next book. So the second book of the year I read was Silent Patient. This book is about a woman who basically kills her husband, and after she kills him, she stops talking. And the psychologist, the therapist in this book, he wants to find out why. He wants to be the reason she starts talking again. Yeah, that's what I'll say the plot of the book is. I gave this 5 stars. I've recommended this book to every single person I know, and they all that have read it, they all have also given it 5 stars. This book, it's a thriller. It's amazing. It's jaw-dropping. I highly recommend this book. The twist, the plot, the way it's written, all of it. Chef's kiss of a book. And 5 stars out of 5 stars. I don't know what else to say. So one thing you need to know about me when it comes to books, I started reading last year, about a year ago actually, because I really just needed something to get me away from a screen, because I'm doing a doctoral program right after COVID. A lot of what we do is online. And so I felt like I was looking at a screen 9 days out of 10, like I'm in a really hard program, getting my doctorate. So I just needed something easy and light to read, and thus my love for rom-coms. Very spicy, easy to read rom-coms. I'm obsessed with them. Like, sure, I love like a good, like thick, like intense book, but I love me some spicy rom-coms. Secretly Yours, the third book that I read this year by Tessa Bailey. I would say the plot of this book is your typical rom-com, your typical like old friends to lovers, like high school friends or high school kind of enemies. They didn't really know each other in high school, but like they did know each other, and then they come back together for romance. She ends up writing him like letters about being his secret admirer, and yeah, it's a rom-com, so you probably know how it ends. I knew how it ended the moment I picked it up, and that's why I wanted to read it. 4 stars for me. I felt like the twist was a bit rushed. I felt like it could have left me wanting more for a little bit longer. Definitely since it's a rom-com, like I feel like rom-coms, like you kind of know what's gonna happen. So like definitely when that twist happens, like you want more from it. And I felt that this is what this book was like. So I think this is my 4th book. 1, 2, 3, 4. I do not have a hard copy. I borrowed this from a friend, so I'll put the picture here. This is Love and Theory by Elodie Chessman. I gave this book a 3 stars. It's another rom-com. There's no spice in this rom-com, so if you're looking for a spiceless rom-com, recommend. But basically it's about this woman who feels like she's ending her like ripe era to find the man for her. She wants to find this like analytical approach to finding love, and you get to sort of follow her along this journey of trying out this analytical approach to love via dating apps. And it is written by an Australian author, which I really enjoyed, but I just felt like if I'm reading a rom-com, I want a little bit of spice. And I hated the twist. I won't spoil what happens with the twist, but the twist only lasted like a page. Like, at least with Tessa Bailey's Secretly Yours, like it was like a full chapter. I just wanted more. But with this book, it was extremely short before it was resolved, and I was like, wait a minute. Like, I thought another twist was going to happen. I thought it was just going to be one of those like small little whole like subplots that just twists, but no, it ended up being like the major twists of the book, and I was extremely disappointed. So I gave it a 3 out of 4 stars. I also don't have a copy of this book. I do own a copy of this book, but I have been loaning it out to friends, and it is The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I think that's how you pronounce her name. This book is basically an autobiography, historical fiction. It's a fake book written in the sense of like someone's bibliography, while also learning about the history of this woman, a fake woman. And yeah, she's like I feel like most people know this book. It was so good. I did give it a 4 out of 5 stars just because I'm not the biggest fan of autobiographies or even historical fictions. They're not my forte, but given that, this book blew me away. It was amazing. It was beautiful. It was jaw-dropping. I learned something from it. Overall, it's a really great book, and I highly recommend to anyone who is thinking about reading it. It's just a really good book. I am so excited to talk about this next book. It is The Fine Print in the Billionaire or Dreamland Billionaires series by Lauren Asher. I'll do the plot of the series as a whole. There are 3 books in the Dreamland Billionaire series, and it's basically about Walt Disney, like as a human being. Walt Disney. If Walt Disney were to have 3 grandkids and Walt Disney dies, and for his 3 grandkids to get their part in the Disney World company, or just the Walt Disney Company as a whole, they have to go on adventures. And this one, I gave The Fine Print 5 out of 5 stars. I'm a huge Disney adult. Like, I'm literally wearing a Disney shirt. This is the first grandson, and his challenge is to create a 50th anniversary for Dreamland Disney World, to create a 50th anniversary change to the parks. And he has to make that change, and it has to be to his grandfather's likings, even though his grandfather's dead, which is a fun part to read about. But I'm a huge Disney fan, so I give this book a 5 stars. I'm a huge sucker for a good rom-com, even though I would categorize this as contemporary romance. I wouldn't say it's rom-com. I just loved it. I loved everything about it. I loved that 99% of the story took place in Disney World, or Dreamland. It's basically Disney World. I loved the like boss to lovers romance. This book has a place in my heart as one of my favorite books of the years, hence why I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. Moving on to the second grandson, the second book is Terms and Conditions, so same one, Dreamland Billionaires by Lauren Asher. I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. This one is basically, he wants to be the CEO of Disney, like literally the whole company as a whole, instead of just Disney World, like the first brother. And in this one, to be able to do that, he has to get married. So that's the plot of the book. So it is a marriage of convenience book. I loved it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I don't know if I already said that. If I did, I'll be a broken record. I don't care. These books are amazing. I just loved it. I thought it was a great addition to the first book. I didn't like it as much as the first book because it was just your typical romance, your typical contemporary romance. But it was really, really good, and I really loved it. These are all spicy books, by the way. Finally, the third book, The Third Brother, we have The Final Offer. This book, it's a small town romance. The third brother, his is just to earn his inheritance from the company, so his like third of the company. So his task is to go and sell his grandfather's lake house, summer house, lake house, whatever you want to call it. And that's the plot of this book. I did give it a 4 out of 5 stars. Again, I didn't like it as much as the first book. I think I like it equally to the second book. A lot of people don't like this one and the first one because it's literally set in Disney World. A lot of people don't like this one because it's small town romance, so the female main character hates the male main character, so therefore everyone in the small town also hates the male main character, and a lot of people give shit for that. But personally, I grew up in a small town, so I know how real that is. So I think that's one reason why I liked it and other people didn't. This next book, I actually am a little bit worried about posting my opinions on the internet. But I'm gonna do it anyway. So my next book was Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine by Gail Honeyman. Again, this was a book I borrowed from a friend. I'm just going to put up the picture here. Basically, it's about this woman who goes through a lot of trauma in her life, and we basically kind of go through her sort of unpacking all of this trauma and becoming more herself. I gave this book 1 out of 5 stars. Look, I know that this book has beautiful meaning about like overcoming your struggles, overcoming the trauma that you've had, and I know that I've been through a lot of trauma and a lot of people have, so I did feel like this book had a beautiful, beautiful meaning. I just felt that it was not executed in a way that I felt motivated to read. I did not enjoy it. I felt forced to read this book. Not by anyone, just I felt like every like page of me reading this book felt like a homework. It felt like a chore that I didn't want to do, but I did, and I did finish it, and I'm glad I finished it because again, I did learn from it. I do recommend this book. I think this is a great book for anyone looking for a fiction book that they can learn from. I didn't think it was executed in a way that I enjoyed, hence why I gave it a 1 star, because I did not enjoy reading this book at all. So the next book that I read, again, I'm loaning it to a friend, so I don't currently have it. It is Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. I gave this 3 out of 5 stars. I loved this book. It was extremely spicy. It was very interesting to read. There was a very like thought out plot, but I felt between the spice and character building that the plot was kind of all over the place. Plot is basically about this ice skater who has to share her rink with the school's hockey team because of a prank that happened and shut down the hockey team's rink. I want to say this book focuses more on character building than it does the plot. By the end of the book, you know almost every single character in the book as if like they're the main character, which I really enjoyed, but like again, I felt like it kind of, the plot got lost in that. There were also some grammar issues in my printout of the book, which kind of made me feel like I was reading a Wattpad story. All I have to say about this book, it was good. If you're looking for just a spicy rom-com, it's your go-to, as long as you don't mind very in-detailed character building and some grammar issues. Alright guys, the next series that I read was the Twisted series. As a whole, all of these books got 4 out of 5 stars. Before I get into it, I will tell you the order in which I liked these books. Twisted Games is my favorite book. Twisted Lies is my second favorite book. Twisted Love is my third favorite book of the series. And then my least favorite book of the series was Twisted Hate. So the first book of the series is Twisted Love. We're helping the female main character work through her trauma while also helping the sort of mafia based, he's not in the mafia, but he probably could be, based male main character find the guy that he wants to murder. Is that how we would describe the plot of this book? Is that how we would? I think so. It's a good book. I enjoyed it. Hence why it's only my third favorite, because the 2 that are my top 2 books of the series were just so much better. Yeah, we're just gonna move on. The second, my favorite of this book, I still gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. I didn't love it more than the fine print, but I loved this book. It's kind of gives off like Princess Diary vibes. It's about the female main character. She is a princess, and she basically finds out that she now has to become queen, even though her whole entire life, the whole time she was growing up, she always thought her brother was going to be the king and that she was just going to be like a standing princess for the rest of her life. But that's not true. She then has to become the queen, and it's basically running through how she wants to take this really old society with its old ways and make it better and more like progressive almost. It is a romance. All of these books are romances. This one is like a frenemy, I wouldn't even say frenemies to lovers. I would just say like brother's best friend to lovers. That's what we would say. This one is like a forbidden romance. I'll just leave it at that. I love it. It just, Princess Diaries, like, it literally gives off Princess Diaries. It gives off girl boss. 10 out of 10. The third book in the series, my least favorite. This is a frenemies to lovers. I just did not like this book. I felt that out of the 4 couples in this series, this was my least favorite couple. It was my least favorite book. I just like, sure, this book and the 4th book, they also intertwine. Well, they all intertwine, but like these 2, like what happens in this one, you read in this one as well, just from a different point of view. And then what happens at the end of this book is actually a major plot point to this book. So like you have to read them all, I would say. I don't know, I didn't like this book. I don't know if it's just I'm not really a big fan of frenemies to lovers. I don't know, it kind of was bland to me. 4 out of 5 stars. Okay, and then finally, my second favorite, Twisted Lies, 4 out of 5 stars. I loved this book. Oh my gosh. This was very close tied for first place, but because of the Princess Diary vibes and me being a huge Disney fan, it just was better. This book is, I would say this is a thriller romance. It's about this social media influencer who finds out she has a stalker, or she's always had a stalker throughout like all of these books. You kind of like hear a little bit about her stalker and all this and that. And it's basically about her sort of finding out more about her stalker. Some things happen with her stalker, and the male main character is like the head of like some really high-end corporation. I don't know. I would say this is a thriller romance. I really enjoyed it. I highly recommend this whole series. I hope you guys are enjoying. Again, I've never really done book reviews here on YouTube, so this is very new territory for me. I feel like it's a bit chaotic, if you ask me, but that's okay. We like chaotic energy. Let's move on to my next book. I've lost count of how many books I've read. Again, I've read 18 books in total this whole year. So moving on to my next book. I kind of regretted reading this book after reading the Twisted series. I felt like going from a bit of like dark contemporary romance to going to light and bubbly and rom-com. Like going from dark contemporary romance to a light and bubbly rom-com just didn't sit well in my head. So I think that's why I didn't enjoy this book as much as I was hoping I would. But also I had really high expectations for it. So the book that I'm talking about is Unfortunately Yours by Tessa Bailey. This is the second series in the universe called A Vine Mess. It is basically about, so this is the sister of the like the professor in the first book. So the male main character of Secretly Yours is the brother of the female main character in Unfortunately Yours, and that's how it ties into the same universe. Basically, she is like a broker, like she's big in New York, like finance world, and she makes a really massive mistake, loses her job, and has to move back to Napa Valley, where she basically has to prove that she is who she says she is. One thing that she wants to do is create her own like brokerage instead of working for other people. She wants to prove to people that she can do it and that one mistake isn't going to like break her. But to do that, she needs a lot of money and she doesn't have a job. So she tries to get her like the money that her parents put aside for her as a kid. But to get that, she has to be married. Hence where our like ex-Navy SEAL comes in. He's retired from the military and he is trying to start up his own vineyard in Napa Valley. There's the plot. I gave this 3 out of 4 stars. Again, I think I had my expectations too high for this book, on top of reading it after these books. So I do recommend this book. I think I'm going to read it again after I've read like a few other non-romance books so that I can actually get like a better view and a better feel of how this book is. So I'm not set on my 3 out of 5 stars for this book at the moment, and I will come back to it to see if I change it. I am not ready to talk about this book. I actually rented this book from the library and I loved it so much that I bought myself a copy. This book is A Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. I think that's how you pronounce her last name. I don't really know. 5 stars. 5 fucking stars. Like, holy shit. I loved this book. The plot is basically about this war college who takes in the daughter of like the head general. She wasn't meant to join the war college. She was meant to go and join like the scribe college, but her mother forced her to go to the war college, and she basically has to fight for her life. She's like a weaker, like she's been cursed or something. They don't really talk about it except for in the beginning of the book where like she's cursed, so she's really weak. So that's why she's not really meant for the war, like the writers part of the college. But yeah, it's amazing. It's really good. I loved this book. The ending, the twists left my jaw on the floor. I still to this day think about this book. I'm probably gonna read it again here soon. I loved this book. The second, Iron Flame, comes out November 7th. I am going to do a reading vlog because I highly wish, like I really wish I would have done a reading vlog for this book. Sorry my camera keeps like whitewashing the book. Oh my gosh, I highly recommend this book. You have to read this book. It's so good. The next book I read was a thriller called Along Came a Spider by James Patterson. I think I gave this a 3 out of 5 stars. I hate slow burns. I hate them with a passion. And I felt like this was a slow burn thriller. It's a big book. I mean, not as big as Fourth Wing, obviously, but for a thriller, it was pretty big. And I felt at times I just wanted to find out what was happening, that I was ready to throw the book out the window into oncoming traffic. This book is about this investigator named Alex Cross, and in this book we run across 2 crimes. Someone murdering people in the ghetto and cutting off their genitalia. Well, he cut off the women's breast and then shaved the genitalia. And then the second crime is a kidnapping of 2 children. And basically you get to see a lot about the kidnapping of these 2 children. You get to see it in the point of view of the kidnapper and Alex. There's a lot of point of views in this book, actually. Yeah, it was really good. I really enjoyed it, but because it was such a slow burn, and at times I was ready to rip it in half because I wasn't getting answers, that's why I gave it 3 stars. I just felt like at times, like I just wanted to know what was happening, and at times you would like start reading, like, oh my gosh, we're gonna find out, and then something happens and you don't find out. So there was like 500 twists in this book. Really good. Highly recommend if you're looking for a good thriller, but just know it's slow burn, like 100% slow burn. And finally, the 18th book that I read this year was It Happened One Summer. I think because of having my hopes set up really high for Unfortunately Yours, I kind of lowered my standards for Tessa Bailey books, but this one just brought it right back up. She brought it right back up. Tessa, you're back, Tessa. So It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. The plot is basically about this influencer who's very famous, and her dad is basically like, you're useless, you know nothing, basically. So I'm gonna send you to try to fiend for yourself in a small town where she meets the boat captain. It was so good. Guys, it was so good. So good. 4 out of 5 stars. Why did I give it 4? I just didn't like, I don't think it deserved 5 stars in my opinion, so I gave it 4 out of 5. I didn't really have anything bad to say about this book though. You should read it if you're into spicy rom-com. Tessa Bailey. Those are all the books that I've read this year. I'm currently reading Pride and Prejudice, which is a hard book, which kind of goes against my whole I'm reading as like free time. I'm reading to like not give me something hard to do, and I feel like Pride and Prejudice, it's written in Old English, which is pretty challenging if you ask me. So I'm reading it and audiobooking it at the same time. So like as I'm reading, I have the audiobook playing so that I don't get distracted by something else, because I feel like with Old English you have to put like 100% of your effort into reading it to understand what you're reading. So to help me stay on track, because it's so hard for me to understand Old English, by reading it and listening to it, it helps me stay from getting distracted. I think I'm gonna sign off. I need to do some homework. I need to edit some vlogs. Yeah. So if you enjoyed this book review and want to see more, if you're looking forward to my Fourth Wing Iron Flame read with me, press the thumbs up button, hit subscribe if you haven't already. Yeah, that's about it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I wish that you have a lovely rest of your day and a lovely rest of your week. And yeah, we'll see you all later. Bye.